now we continue with the last lesson, the same lesson, that is preventive measures. So in the previous class, we had studied about the benefits of carpooling and public transport. Now today we'll study about no smoking zone. So all of you know that smoking is the inhalation of the smoke of burning tobacco, which is encased in cigarettes, pipes, cigars. So in this way, the active ingredients in tobacco is inhaled into the lungs where most of it stays. So the rest of it passes into the bloodstream, reaching the brain in about 10 seconds and dispersing throughout the body in about 20 seconds. So smoking has been recognized as the leading preventable cause of death. Anyone with a smoking habit has an increased chance of lung and other types of cancer, respiratory diseases like asthma, bronchitis, high blood pressure, stroke. So these are actually the harmful effects of smoking. So today we are going to study about the importance of no smoking zone. So, uh, realizing the seriousness of the problem of smoking in public places, it was prohibited nationwide from October 2nd under the Prohibition of Smoking in Public Places Rules 2008. The smoking ban pertains to public places which include auditoriums, cinemas, hospitals, public transport like buses, trains, metros, aircraft, their related facilities, that is airports, bus stands, railway stations, hotels, bars, then libraries, post offices, shopping malls, canteens, educational institutions and parks. So if a person is caught smoking in public places, he or she has to pay a fine. By creating no smoking zone in public places, an attempt has been made to save not only passive smokers but also to discourage smokers to give up smoking. Passive smokers are actually people who are non-smokers, and when they stand beside a person who is smoking, they also inhale that smoke. So they are regarded as passive smokers. Now the advantages of no smoking zone are, first of all, it reduces the possibility of second-hand tobacco smoke being inhaled by non-smokers, that is the passive smokers. Then it improves the air quality, because if no smoking zones are created, then up to some extent the air quality maybe of indoor area will be improved. It reduces healthcare cost by reducing the chances of diseases caused by smoking. So if the people stop smoking, then the money can be used for other purposes rather than spending lakhs and lakhs of money in curing deadly diseases like cancer, lung cancer. Then the fourth point is it reduces the chances of influencing others, especially the youth, to take on the habit of smoking. Especially the youth, they have a habit of getting influenced by other people. So if such zones are created, then to some extent the youth will be saved. Then it reduces the chances of accidental fires in places with highly flammable materials, forest fire and fires which often start from lit cigarettes. So these are the advantages of no smoking zone. Now children, in your book you have this diagram, figure 19.6, which shows the health risks which are associated with smoking, like it causes ulcers meaning jhala in Hindi. Then it results in cancer, then cataract is a kind of a whitish coating which forms in the eyeball and it affects the vision. Then respiratory diseases, it reduces the life expectancy, because when if a person starts suffering from cancer as a result of smoking, then his life expectancy gets reduced. Then it results in periodontal diseases, meaning oral diseases related to the gums, the breath, the teeth. It results in discoloration of teeth. It results in premature aging, facial wrinkles. So these are the problems which are associated with smoking. So the next way by which pollution can be reduced is by the restricted use of fossil fuels. So fossil fuels refer to buried combustible deposits of organic materials formed from decayed plants and animals, which get converted under pressure and heat to form crude oil, which is refined to form petroleum, diesel, then coal, natural gas. So fossil fuels are a major source of energy. So it is used in the transport sector, especially petroleum. Natural gas also is used. It is used to heat homes, to cook meals in industries, and its compressed form CNG is used as an alternative to petrol or diesel. So fossil fuels are the cause of environmental hazards like air pollution, global warming, and acid rain. So that is why burning of fossil fuels has been responsible for climatic change. It has been responsible for global warming. So as I was telling you, fossil fuels are the cause of environmental hazards like air pollution, global warming, and acid rain. It is one of the air pollution is one of the major disadvantage of fossil fuels, because when the fossil fuels are burnt, they give out a number of gases, particularly carbon dioxide. So this is a primary gas which has been responsible for global warming. As you can see in this picture, that when the fossil fuels are burned, there is an increased level of carbon dioxide emission. As a result, because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, so it absorbs a lot of outgoing terrestrial radiation. So this results in an increase in the surface temperature of the earth, which is responsible for global warming. All over the earth, there has been an increase in the mean temperature because of the increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Secondly, it has been responsible for acid rain. So when these pollutants remain in the atmosphere, when rainfall takes place, it combines with these gases to form acid rain, which is very harmful. It damages crops. It is responsible for damaging the monuments as well. So children, burning of fossil fuels, air pollution, in fact, is very, very harmful because it results in diseases like asthma, then it results in respiratory infections. All right, so these are the problems. Similarly, transportation of crude oil via sea can cause oil spills, which is a major hazard to the aquatic life. So these are the problems which are associated with fossil fuels. So the disadvantages of fossil fuels apart from causing global warming is that it is an exhaustible or non-renewable source of energy. Once it is used, it is over. So because the population is also growing rapidly and the needs are also increasing, so it is expected that a time will come when the fossil fuels will just finish. So these resources, they are non-renewable and they take millions of years to form. Therefore, it is very important that we reduce our dependence on such energy sources and we start utilizing other energy sources like solar energy, tidal energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. So we can use them. Now, one very big advantage about these non-conventional sources of energy, that is solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, is that they are inexhaustible. They are renewable in nature. And a very good thing about them is that they do not cause any pollution. So you can see in this slide, a comparison has been made between fossil fuels, that is the conventional sources of energy, versus the non-conventional source of energy, that is wind energy. Another way by which we can save energy is various methods which we can take on our own, because energy we face severe energy crisis because of the increase in population and also because of deterioration in the physical environment. Even now, the fossil fuels are the main source of energy and they are being used at an alarming rate. So it is important that we start using alternative sources of energy. Now children, though hydroelectricity is a clean fuel, but because for its generation huge dams have to be constructed, so they create environmental problems. So we can use a number of measures. You can refer to page number 146 to save energy. We can use extra blankets and sweaters instead of using room heaters. So likewise in summer we can dress up in light cotton clothes and we can save on air conditioning cost and energy. Then we should make sure that the houses are well insulated and if heated or cooled, windows and doors are not left open. So we can raise the shades on winter days, lower them in summer so that it does not become very hot. We can seal all the leaks. We can so by this way, we can block windows and doors with weather strip tape and install blinds to reduce outside heat transfer. We can use Energy Star label products. So this reduces the energy bill by about 30% and it can up to some extent help in reducing pollution. Then we can use low flow shower head to reduce water consumption because water consumption also is, water is also a very valuable resource which is also becoming scarce as the time is passing by. So we can check the energy usage to heat the water. Another very important thing which is very general is turn off the lights and fans when not in use. Then we can replace light fixtures with energy conserving CFL bulbs. We can use LED lighting system. They are much more durable, versatile and long lasting. From time to time our electrical equipment should be checked so that so as to cut down the energy consumption. We can paint our exterior and interior walls in such a way that more light is reflected. Then during the daytime we can open blinds to bring in natural light instead of turning on the lights. Then when we get photocopies done, we can get both the sides photocopied. Alright, then we can use public transport or carpooling. So this will also help in saving energy cost. So these are the various ways by which we can save energy.